Great. Namaste, Green Wave. It's Miss Amy. And today I have a very special guest for our yoga session today. I have Miss Julie Robbins of Pada Foot Lounge. She started her very own business and she's also a yoga teacher. And we're going to learn all about our feet with Miss Julie today. So it's going to be super cool. Feel free to, move your feet, move your body as we learn today with Miss Julie. So thank you so much for joining us today with the Green Wave for 21st Century Community Learning Center. So this is so exciting to have a special guest, like a virtual field trip with you today. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Miss Amy. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste, yes.
I'm so glad to be here. So I'm going to teach you all of the fun, magical things that your feet can do for you today. So I know a lot of times people, you may think of like your feet, like, they're just my feet. I walk on them. I put my shoes in them and I don't really think much about them, but our feet are so cool. Our feet are our roots. If you think about a tree or a plant and how they need to have that firm foundation of their really strong roots in the soil to be beautiful, bright, tall trees and plants, our feet are the exact same way. Our feet, they connect us to the ground and to the earth, and they connect us to our bodies, and they connect us to each other. So when our feet are firmly planted on the ground, we can be a lot more balanced and a lot more grounded, and it makes us happier people. And a really cool fact to know about your feet is that it connects the rest of your body too. So sometimes if your feet are maybe like a little crooked, your shoulder might be crooked too because of the alignment of your feet. So that's my science about feet. And then we can go and do little ways that you can help and take care of your feet. So I'm just going to get a chair and then move my camera. So Miss Amy might want to put me on pause.
You got it. All right. Yep.
Okay, so hopefully you can see my feet. And I'm sitting in a chair right now, and my knees and my ankles are right next to each other, and they're even. And we'll just go through a couple of stretches that you could do for everyday health of your feet. If you're an athlete, a cheerleader, or a soccer player, or a football player, these are great stretches that you can do to help build strength and flexibility in your feet. So the first set is super easy. We're just going to lift our toes for about 10 seconds. And then then the toes come down and the heels come up. And you can do that back and forth a couple times if you like. And that just helps to build some strength and muscles into the feet.
And so you could do this when you're sitting on the couch or at your desk at school. You could lift your feet up and down.
Totally. You can do this anytime, which is really great. This one might be a little trickier to do because it helps if you're in your socks or with bare feet. You're going to just spread your toes really wide, tuck them underneath you, and then just let the fronts of the feet come forward. So you'll feel a big stretch in the fronts of your feet and the ankles and definitely in your toes too. This is a really great stretch, especially if you do a lot of sports. Helps to build up the strength of your ankles. So that's really great. So you can go back and forth. You can make it like a little series going onto your toes and your heels. It's a fun thing to do. And then, always want to do some ankle circles because that's really good for circulation. Ability into the feet too. Another cool thing you could do if you've got a tennis ball or any kind of ball, it could even be a little bigger ball either, is you can use this to massage your feet. You just take a ball and you can just rub it all around your feet. And sometimes you might find a little spot that might be a little tender or just have a little sensation. It can be fun to just pause on that for a minute because that helps to break up some of the tight muscles into the feet. You can roll it on your heels and your toes, and all those fun things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a tennis ball, but it can be any kind of ball either. And the fun thing about this is that you've got so much freedom. You can run at any part of your foot that you want. So that's another stretch you can do.
That's so cool.
Thing. Another great thing you can do is very simple. You just rise onto the balls of your feet. So you get heel raises. This helps to build up the strength in your calves and your ankles too. Just lift the heels up. Put your arms out to the side. Maybe your balance wiggles a little bit. You can go close to a wall too if your balance is a little off. And just lift and raise. And then you feel the little burn in the muscles too. If you want to challenge that stretch, one thing you can do is you can lift one foot up and then try to lift your heel on one foot. And then switch. And if you're a superstar, you can try bending your knees, sticking one leg out in front of you, bending your knees, and then lift your heel and lower your heel. That's like the super extra spicy version. So start off small with like the heel raises first. So those are just some ideas that you can do for some stretchings of the feet. And this next part is a little bit more of a, I'll raise my camera so you can see my face now. The next part is a little bit more of a yoga sequence that's super fun that you can do at any time. If you're ever feeling stressed, I guess, or a little excited and you need to, feel closer to the ground or feel a little bit more balanced, here's some fun things that you can do. So Miss Amy, you might want to pause me again.
You got it.
Okay. So one exercise you can do, which is also a lot of fun too, is have something solid like a wall mostly you need a wall for this. And you want to lay down and have your knees bent and place your feet at the wall, one right next to the other. And what you want to do is use your legs here and press your feet into the wall. And try to feel like you can press your feet through the wall. And this helps to create a foundation of feeling support underneath you, so you can help to feel more grounded, more alert. And, if you've got a lot of thoughts going on in your mind, this helps to send the energy down to your feet. So the thoughts in your mind might slow down a little bit and start to feel, there's a little bit more space between them. And you might think it's just pressing your feet against the wall, but you can have fun with it. You could press one foot, you can press the other foot and alternate back and forth. You can press both at the same time. And then you just notice. You could stop and see how it feels not to press your feet either and see how that feels as well. So that's another option you can do. This one is my favorite one and it's so fun to do. And if you have any brothers or sisters or friends, this is super fun. Because all you need to do is just roll.
That looks so fun.
It is so fun. And the most fun about it is that helps you to feel the earth and the ground beneath you. You can, if you have friends, you can make a line and then you just roll over each other. And going back to what we said about your feet connecting you to the earth, when you roll over other people, it's another way to get you closer and connected to your friends or your family as well. So that's so much fun to do. I do it all the time.
I love it. That's so fun. I've done that where you roll up in a blanket too and then relax, like roll up like a cocoon. So that's
like a little burrito.
Yeah, you roll.
So fun. You get it feels like a little hug and then you feel the ground too. It's so fun. And then you probably know this a lot from Miss Amy, but another nice thing you can do is come into a child's pose. Your hips come back to your heels and the arms extend forward. And if you can get your head to the ground, that's awesome. If not either. But this is a nice way to just get yourself grounded. And so you can feel the earth underneath you. And it's a nice breath and breathe, and you can feel the support of the earth underneath you. Although you may not be able to do this at your desk, you can sometimes put your head on your desk and press back a little bit. That can sometimes feel good too. And then we'll start to make it a little more spicy. So we'll walk the hands back, tucking the toes underneath you. You're gonna rock back and come to a little squat. Actually, I'm gonna change this a little bit. I'm gonna grab my ball. Our toe, can you see my toes?
Not quite. Yep. Oh, now again. Yes.
There we go.
Oh, and we all have our own set of blocks and a blanket, an eye pillow, and a yoga mat too. So our blocks are foam, but that's really cool because that's a cork block, right? That looks like a cork block.
Yeah, that is a cork block. So this is a little bit more steady, but a regular foam block is perfect for this too.
Okay.
This is super great if you wear flip-flops in the summer, and also for the athletes too. Great to help to get flexibility in the toes is that you can take a block, place your knees underneath the block, and then you're just going to sit back on your curled toes. And this is going to kind of open up the webbing in between the toes and give you a lot of strength and flexibility. And it's one of those things that it goes back and forth between feeling really good and really not so good at the same time. But you stay here for as long as you can, and then when you don't like it anymore, you move on to the next one.
And if you didn't have your block with you, could you roll your blankets and stack them to put that on your knees, or something else, like another object could you use?
Yeah, you can use absolutely. You can use a blanket, you can use a pillow if you have a book. If you want the stretch to be a little bit more challenging, you don't need to use a block at all, and you just your knees come to the floor. That one's definitely interesting. Conversation starter. Right. And then even if you want to start off small, don't sit back on your knees. If you just tuck the toes underneath you and just stand up, you're still getting a great stretch in your toes. So that feels really good as well. So you just work to what feels good for your body. And every day our body can feel a little different. So we work to where we're at. We work to see what works for us. And another fun thing you can do, if you're to have that more grounded feeling, this one is called the elephant. So what we do is first we stand with our feet, trying to see what's the best angle. Yeah, we'll stand with our feet about hips distance apart, bend your knees, and you'll just bend your knees so much that your hands can press the ground. And then your head just falls down. And just breathe here a couple of breaths. If your hands don't reach the ground, you can use your set of blocks and place your hands on the blocks so you still have that connection of the earth coming up towards you. And when we bend forward, this is really nice for the mind too. It's very cooling, and it helps to make everything feel a little better. So we just stay here a couple of breaths. Inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. And then you notice how maybe if you're on a mat, the texture of the mat underneath your fingers and your feet, and you notice what is grounding you and connecting you to the earth. And then we like to make it a little spicy, so you bend your knees a little bit, still keeping your hands on the ground with those knees bent. Again, just breathe and notice. And because we're at it, bending the knees and just making things a little bit more active, you'll start to feel the legs. They might start to tingle and start to activate. And that's great because then we're really turning on that energy of the first chakra. And that's what helps us feel safe and secure and really grounded here. And then when you've had enough of that tingle in the legs, you'll start to slowly bend yourself up. Keeping the knees still bent, you'll start to roll yourself up. And And when you get about halfway, you'll pause. And again, you'll press those feet down into the earth and feel that grounding, like you could shoot your legs all the way down to the center of the earth. And let everything still be heavy. And then after a few breaths here, you'll just ground yourself all the way up the stand. And again, you'll feel how the difference is with your feet bent and you're folded forward, and when you're standing straight up, how do the legs feel different? So that's the elephant.
That's so cool.
And now we'll move on to our to the things that I think are most fun when it comes to massaging the feet. So this is a great way to, you can use your hands to really connect to your feet. And like we talked about, things that happen in your feet can affect the rest of your body. So if we address the feet, we're also healing. We can also bring health and healing to our to the rest of our body as well, which is really cool. Oh, I forgot. There's one more stretch that I like. That I think you might like. That's really cool. And this is the hand and foot handshake or foot shake. I'm not really sure.
Foot shake. I like that.
So what you can do, try to get the camera a little closer so you can see, is that you want to spread your hands and spread your toes. And then you're going to place each finger as best you can in between the spaces of your toes. And if it's your first time doing this, your fingers may not get very far. If your toes have a bit more space between them, you might be able to wiggle the fingers all the way down towards the webbing in between the feet. And you just want to hang out here. It can feel, you might feel a lot of different things when you're doing this. It could feel really interesting. It could feel like a nice stretch, or you're like, this is really weird and I'll never do it again. Mm-hmm. But you try it out and see what you think. So you can do it on both feet. If you're really fancy, you can try and do both. I don't know that I could show you.
Wow, both at one time. Oh my goodness.
If you're really fancy, you could try to do both at the same time. Or if not, you try one foot at a time and see how that works out.
It's almost like when you get a pedicure and they put in the foam, like that foam thing in
totally.
between. So your hand is like the pedicure when you're getting your toes done.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels as weird as like that too. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to try. And you can even do it. So here I am sitting in the chair, and
you got it.
It's a little hard at first, but once you kind of, you're right, get the webbing of it.
Yeah,
it does feel really cool. It really stretches out your toes, especially today. I was wearing my flip flops, so
yeah.
So yeah,
if you're a runner, if you run too or do track, this is good for that too. Also, I guess for anybody, because if you wear shoes, sometimes your feet get scrunched up in the shoes, and this is a nice way to stretch it. Another fun fact is that in between our toes and in our toes are a lot of different energy points. So doing that, you can tap into something that might help you breathe a little better. Liver work better, all types of different sciences that
and that's from the Eastern medicine, right?
Yeah,
organs, right?
Totally. So speaking of that, there is a point on our foot that's really, I'll use my block so you can see, maybe. Right between the big toe and the little toe is another energy point. I don't know if you can see right here. And if you just rub that spot kind of right in between the webbing, this spot here, this helps to open up our heart and our lungs so we can breathe better. Fun fact.
That is pretty cool. Who would have thought that your toes, right, are connected to your heart?
Exactly, and your lungs, and it'll help you breathe, and it's just from touching your feet. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's move on to other massage things that we can do that always feel really good. So if you have lotion or oil at home, you could always do it. But what I'm going to show you today just requires your hands and nothing else on that. So the first thing technique we're going to do is you just make these cup-shaped hands. So it's kind of like, yeah, just exactly like that. And I'm just going to move my camera so you can see. And then you can bring your hands towards your calf or even, oh, got some dirt, even up by the knee. And you just go one at a time, up and down, having that cup-shaped hand motion. And you can start to move around the leg and get to the back of the leg. And what this does is this helps to move the energy and the blood that's in the lower leg. It's going to help move it so it moves up towards the heart and helps to clean out our organs and helps to helps to move the lymph, which is really good. You want to have that moving around your body. So you can just do that. You can even do it up onto the lower leg. When it comes to the knee, you just make little circles, and that's going to do the same exact thing. And then when you're done, you just move on to the other leg and do the same thing, up and down, up and down. And whenever we have a joint, the joint you always want to take care of, so you just make circles around the joint too. And then this is my favorite technique. You make fists with your hands, loose fists, not like, don't think like Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather, I think. And what you want to do with these loose fists is you're just going to tap up the sides of the legs. And then you get the middle of the leg, get the insides of the legs. And same thing here, there's all these different energy points in the legs. So by tapping it, you're stimulating that energy and you're helping the blood circulate better into your body and making all of your system work more effectively. And it helps you feel more alive and more grounded and connected to the earth. Let's see. And then what else can we do? And then for your ankles, if you can see, you want to come back to those cup-shaped hands, and then you make circles here, kind of like the wheels of the bus going round and round, probably about 20 times here. This is really nice to just get strength, and it just feels really good on your ankles. It helps them be a little bit more supple and a little bit more flexible.
And would that help with balancing poses? So, like, help.
Definitely.
You know,
you definitely get a sense of more awareness of your feet. So with the stronger ankles, that'll definitely help with your balance as well. And then the last part I want to show you is toe pulls. So like we talked about, there are so many different energy points in between the toes, and that, like we also talked about, that sometimes our toes aren't necessarily so, we don't pay that much attention to them. So, but toe pulls are a nice way to treat your feet as well. So you want to just kind of like loosely rock the toes back and forth, and then give them a spin around like this little piggy goes to the market. And then you're just going to lightly pull it, give it a few tugs, starting at the knuckle of the toe, and then work your way towards the end of the toe. And then you give it a little pull. And then you do that with all the toes too. Rub it around, give it a little massage, get between those rubbings of the toes. Spin one way, spin the other way, start to pull it from the knuckle all the way through the toes, and then you pull it out. An interesting thing to note in Chinese medicine, and that usually works on all of our organs, is that the toes, the nails around the toes, are the exit channels for all of those points. So it's also sometimes nice to rub around the edges of the toenails too, because then you're still moving in that energy and still getting it flowing. So just go through all the toes, spin them around, rub them, get in between the webbing of the toes. Make sure you get around the edges of the toenails too, and then you just pull. And you could do that as often as you like. You could do it before bed. You could do it after you get out of the shower. Um, yeah, and then just little simple techniques that you can do to help help your body work more effectively and to be stronger and healthier. And I guess that's all I've got.
Awesome. And do you recommend what oils would be good for our feet? Are there any like essential oils that are best for our toes, or like what's good for, good foot health? I know you mentioned lotions, but
Great question. If you want to follow Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga, usually in the summer, we recommend that you use coconut oil because that can be more cooling for the body. In the other seasons, like fall and winter, where it's cooler outside, you may want to use sesame oil or olive oil, which can be a little bit more heating. So if your mom or your parents don't mind, you could steal some oil right out of their kitchen. And then you really, a little bit goes a long way. But even if you have any type of lotion, that would work too. If you have essential oils at home, lemon oil is really nice for the feet. A few drops of that. Peppermint oil is great for the feet. You'll see a lot of lotions for the feet tend to have peppermint. Tea tree oil is also good, but that's usually more if there's a issue in your foot, like athlete's foot or something. That can be more for like antibacterial. But if you've got anything, if you don't do anything, if you just rub your feet for like 5 minutes before bed, is really the best thing that you can do for your feet. It makes sure that everything is working the way it should be working.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of these tools and techniques for your feet. And like you said, just like 5 minutes a day, if you don't do anything, just rub your feet, and you can get creative. Like, Miss Julie used the ball, she used the block, she used the wall. So you can really get creative with massaging your feet for good health. As I like to call it, toga, right? You're looking for the
I
toe.
love the toga.
So thank you so much, and I hope everyone practices all their foot massages that Miss Julie shared with us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thank you so much.